I literally felt like he instilled the ability that I had to really, obviously anything, specifically baseball. It was always, this felt like, okay, like this is what the God has called me to be doing. I like stay around it.
Welcome back to Podcast on Wheels. Today in studio, we've got one of my favorite people in the world, a former player. You guys know him as Mags. Isaiah Magwood, welcome to the studio.
How you doing, Brian? You my man. You the man.
So thank you for that. Let's start with your story. Maybe let's go back to high school and that season we were talking about,
Right.
but just tell us about how that season unfolded there your senior year.
Of course. So senior year, funny enough, so we go into the fall. I don't know if you remember this, but going into the fall, like the back end of that summer, my bat was just kind of like, like it was just kind of like fading away. And I was like, you know what? I'm probably just going to pitch a lot at Jacksonville anyway. I'm just going to be a PO. And so I go into the fall, get a new coach. He comes in, he's like, listen, like I know you got all these offers to go do both in college and blah, blah, blah. But he was like, I really want you to be one of our, like the guy for us on the mound. I'm like, okay, cool. So once he said that, still wasn't hitting the broad side of the bar at the moment. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to be a PO. He's like, that's fine. I don't care. Fast forward to like, probably about 10 games into the season. And we had a talented team. Like we had a lot of talent on our team, but it was like, we just could never really put it together. We had never made the playoffs the whole time I was in high school. And so we were about 10 games in. Beck had just got back from basketball. We were playing our rival Buckhorn. We lose. He's the only person that could hit the ball on our team at that point. Like no, everybody was kind of scuffling but him. It's like first game out of basketball, I'm a big leaguer. Let me go out here, go 3 for 4 with 2 doubles. Like, okay, cool. But he, that's his thing. Next day, so on Wednesdays, we did yoga during our weightlifting period for school. We're doing yoga, we're stretching. He comes over there, he's like, Mags. And he's Venezuelan, so he has the accent. He's like, Mags, you know, you should be hitting for me right now. I said, Coach, if you want me to hit, I'll hit. Mind you, I haven't picked up a bat 6 months probably. I'm like, you want me to hit? I'll do whatever the team needs to do for us to, win.
Mm-hmm. And
so he said, all right, we'll take fly balls in center field today and we'll hit BP. And I mean, I'm a fairly athletic person, so I could go hit BP to like 20 minutes and it's going to look decent. I can take a fly ball with my eyes closed. So I'm like, okay, I'll be fine. Like, so he's like, if it looks fine, you'll be in the lineup tomorrow. I'm like, tomorrow? So I'm like, okay. So, of course, it looked okay. Punches me in the 5-hole the next day against Thompson. First at bat, I get up there. I'm just like, just don't strike out. If you strike out, you're probably going to be cooked. So, like, you're not going to, like, shut the whole operation down. Get, like, a little fist job, single in the left. I'm like, that's my day. I don't have to get hit for the rest of the day. Next at bat, hit a 2-run homer. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then we just started rolling. We get to the first round of the playoffs, and we're playing Oxford, and they were like, I guess, I don't know if there's necessarily favorites in high school, but they were probably the favorite to win in 6A. And so 15-1, they drill us. We're all on me and Chandler, we get the guys up in the outfield after the first game. And we're like, well, fellas, made the step in the right direction. New coach, changing the culture of Hazel Green baseball, whatever. Let's just go out here and have fun, play hard, and try to win. And that's exactly what we did. Ended up winning. We ended up ripping off like 6 wins in a row all the way to the 4th round. We were playing Coleman, and then they went to the state championship like 5 years in a row at that point.
Right.
And I remember I didn't even know that until the WAFF, or maybe it was WHNC. I can't remember which one it was, but that came out to Hazel Green to film our practice and interview a couple of us before we went to go play them. And we were all talking before we started airing. They were like, yeah, Coleman's been in the state championship the last 5 years. I'm like, I was like, okay, but still feeling super confident though, because like we were just rolling. So it was just like, we're feeling like right now, like nobody can beat us. We're playing with a lot of confidence, all that stuff. And so, first game, we lose the first game. Second game, we faced Will Morrison. He was going to Auburn at the time, and he was like, he's like 85, 88 sidearm, good slider, great stuff. He was killing us. Like he went through the whole game, 7 innings, complete game 2, but bottom of the 7th, because we ended up being the home team for game 2 at Coleman. And so he's like still cruising. I'm like, man, I get up there, bottom of the 7th, I'm like, burner on first. I'm like, I got to be the one to hit this 2-run homer for us to win. Thinking like selfishly a little bit, because I'm like, I just wanted us to win that bad. I ended up popping out, pissed, throwing stuff in the dugout. Like, season's over. Like, we blew it. But then another one of our seniors, who was our I guess he was our ace, really. I mean, 80, 82 lefty, just let him hang. Here's 82, come hit it, and nobody ever did. And so he gets up there to hit 2-run homer off the scoreboard down to his last strike. We're like, okay, we're destined to win. Ended up winning the state championship the next week, all that stuff. So, I mean, the senior year run, it was magical. It was just like, I used to tell my college teammates this all the time. Like, that was the most fun I had playing baseball, was my senior year. I mean, I played in the regional at Ole Miss in college, crazy conference tournament games, like crazy environments. I mean, at Auburn, at Bama, Georgia, everywhere. But it's like the most fun I ever had was that senior year run with the boys that I grew up playing my entire life with. It was like a moment that we almost kind of predicted, though, because in middle school, we knew my class and the class behind us had a bunch of talent. We had all been playing kind of either together or against each other pretty much our entire life. So we all knew each other like really, really well. And it was like, that's going to be our year to kind of, like, our senior year was going to be the year for us to really take that leap. But the whole time we were in high school, we weren't making it out of the area. So we were just like, okay, we'll just, do our thing in high school, go play summer ball, try to get scholarships, whatever, and go about our way. But then we ended up clicking like we thought we would when we were younger. And it was magical. It was cool. It was super dope.
Yeah. And I remember, as you're saying that, just when we were already playing in the summer when y'all were wrapping up.
Right.
And we were listening to the game as we were preparing for another game. And I remember Alan looking at me in game 2. And being from Hartsville, I knew who Coleman was.
Of course.
I knew they had been there. But Alan looks at me and he goes, well, maybe they'll be here tomorrow because it looks like they're going to lose this one. Like, we were wanting you to come play for us.
Yeah.
But at the same time, then he goes, wait. Uh-oh, we got game 3.
Yeah.
And then we were like, all right, well, they made it. They might as well win it now,
Yeah.
right? So, but let's go back to, you may or may not remember this story. We were at Mississippi State. Remember when we played out there? I think it was like the last game or something at their field.
Yeah.
And everybody packed their truck with all that stuff and left.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the pants and all that. Yeah.
But you had a preparation before games. You had your weighted balls, your bands.
Yeah.
What prompted you to start adding to what you were doing? Because a lot of guys just show and go.
Right.
And so you had a preparation, I think, that enabled you to continue like you did. Where did that come from?
Well, when I first got to high school, I didn't have a clue what a weighted ball was, obviously, before I got to high school. And I always kind of I'm a big guy. I've always been bigger than everybody and kind of athletic and could move good, had a fast arm. But like, I never had like the whippiness in my arm. It was always kind of like I'm long arming it, trying to use my levers or whatever. But when I got to high school, we started doing driveline. And so I just kind of fell in love with throwing the weighted ball. Like, it always, like, because our coach for my first 3 years, like, he was really good about, arm care, like how you're supposed to do this, technique, this, that, and the third. So we weren't just in there just hurling weighted balls just to be trying to throw harder. Like, we were kind of being really sound with it. And when you do that stuff right, like, when you prep right, more times than not, like, the recovery won't be as bad. Like, you won't feel as sore. You won't do this. You won't do that. So in my brain, I'm like, okay, well, if I just keep doing this before I, really do before I even throw a baseball, whether be playing outfield, pitching, whatever, I won't feel as bad afterwards. And so that was really kind of like what jump started it. Was we started doing driveline. I started seeing the results, started throwing harder, arms started feeling better, started moving better, more efficient. And so I was like, yeah, might as well keep doing it. I did it all the way through college too.
Yeah. And that, I coached a lot of players, and you were one of the first ones. I would say, okay, you're pitching or we're doing this today, and you're like, no, I got to go do this first.
Yeah.
And it was a preparation, and you probably don't even remember that, but I was impressed that, I didn't require anybody to do weighted balls because it kind of, what's your program? We stay with it. But so, obviously you had a son, and he was born in your senior year.
Right. Yep.
Senior year. And so now he's
7, be 8 November.
7. So give him a shout out real quick.
Shout out to Bash. He's probably on FaceTime with his baseball teammates right now on his iPad. Shout out to him. He's a great kid though. He's super smart, sharp, loves going to school, loves being with the boys. He's a guy's guy. Just likes playing video games.
He's a little stud.
Likes playing likes going to hang out with his boys, likes being on the phone with the boys. He's just a guy's guy. Just chilling.
He's cool.
He's super laid back. He's a great kid. I wouldn't change anything about the kid. He's amazing.
And so when you find out you're going to be a dad,
right?
it's almost like you found another gear. You found
Right.
another level because I was telling you a little bit about my conversation with your dad,
Right.
one of my favorite people in the world. But that made you level up, right?
Right.
It just how does that happen? Because a lot of guys they do get in this situation.
Right.
So
Of
if a
course.
guy's a junior or senior in high school and his girlfriend goes, "Hey, bro, guess what?
I'm pregnant.
Yeah, how did
That's
how did
woo.
tell
Yeah.
us a little bit
Nah.
about that? 'Cause-
So initially, like when I found out, obviously it's like, oh man, it's like 17. What am I gonna do? And my dad's old school, and he used to always be like, "You ever get a girl pregnant in high school? Like baseball's done. You're gonna go get a job, take care of your family, blah blah blah." And I'm like, okay. So when it happened, I tell my mom first. Initially, of course, we're just all laid up in the bed crying, and this is gonna crack you up. My dad was in the living room in his recliner sleeping,
yeah,
and so she's like, "Well, you better go wake your daddy up and tell him." And I'm like, "Oh God, like, what is he about to rip me a new one?" Thinking the whole time. And he stopped smoking cigarettes some years ago, but this is when he was still smoking. And I wake him up. We go on our back deck. Like, yeah, I'm like, Pops, I gotta tell you something. Like, come outside real quick. Waking up, all right. Yeah, so he gets up and he's like, he gets a cigarette out, lights it up, sits in his chair, he leans back, and he's like, "Talk to me, son. What's going on?" I'm like, "So and so's pregnant." He said, couple expletives. Really? I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." He's like, "Well," the whole time I'm thinking he's about to be like, "Well, baseball's done. You're about to have to go get a job, take care of your family, blah, blah, blah." He's like, "We'll figure it out." And that gave me comfort. And her and my son's mother, shout out to Tyler, great mother, um, great person. She great support system, great family. So it was just kind of like it kind of like gave me a sense of relief of like and comfortability in the fact that like, okay, like no matter what, I know I'm gonna be fine. And so I mean, really after that, once that kind of weight was lifted, it was just kind of like, all right, well, now you got even more of a reason to be doing what you're doing. Like you already, love the game. You played this game since you were 4. You want to go do this, that, and the third, because you love it. But now you got somebody that's looking up to you, or it's going to be looking up to you, depending on you for pretty much everything. I mean, that's what kids are. But so that kind of just locked me in a little bit different than I was previously, because I thought I was locked in before, but then once that happens, you're like, okay, now like I wasn't locked in as I thought I was, and then once you hit that different level, then it's kind of get into like a little flow state. That's kind of where I got into it with it. Was like, okay, I don't really have a choice but to absolutely be the best that I can absolutely be, and do what I need to do to put myself in a position to do that. And once I kind of got in that state, I was just kind of in flow state with it, and the results were the results.
and you did level up, and I guess I could say you really had somebody looking up to you.
Right, no,
And
literally. Yeah, instead of like, oh, maybe like some little kids at my mom's school or something across, "Oh, your son plays for Hazel Green." Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. I was like, no, like this is your seed. This
Yeah.
is your DNA walking around watching you do everything.
Yeah.
And it's funny watching them grow up too, because it's like you do certain things and you don't think about you're doing it, and then like I'll see him do it and I'm like, oh, like he's like you're paying attention, like you're listening to everything I'm saying, what I'm doing. Because it's just like, oh, these kids ain't listening. These kids always listening. Those ears are always open. Their eyes are always on. Head is always on a swivel, trying to see what you're doing. And so, you got to try to put the best foot forth once you realize that's the case. So,
Yeah. All right. So you go to Jacksonville State, and I didn't know the backstory before the Auburn game,
right.
but tell us a little bit about how, again, maybe you weren't going to hit your senior year. You end
Right.
up hitting, which you neglected to say, a couple home runs in the Florence series, but that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, that Florence series was crazy that year for sure. It has 3 homers, 3 straight games.
And maybe you pitched okay.
Yeah, pitched okay.
Yeah.
Up to like 94. A couple scouts in there. See Cole Henry. It was cool. It was a
Yeah.
cool experience. But yeah.
But take us, because I've watched this highlight. Like I said earlier, we were watching the highlight, and Courtney was looking at it, and I was telling you what pitch was going according to the music, because
Right.
I've watched it so many times.
Right.
But tell us a little bit about what that experience was like. At 6-0, coach
Right.
goes, "Hey."
Yeah, I'll give you some backstory just leading up to like the year in general, because I mean that fall, I had a great fall pitching, and to the point to where like going into the spring, Coach Case, shout out to Coach Jim Case, legendary coach. Actually, he's going into the Hall of Fame at Jacksonville here, maybe like a couple weeks, I think. I don't know when he's doing it, but I saw it the other day on Twitter. Great coach, great guy. Never had started a freshman pitching on the weekend, And going into the year, he was like, "You're gonna be our Saturday starter." Never started a freshman, like, so that could tell you how good I was leading up to the year.
Mm-hmm.
My first couple starts, I can't get out of the second inning. Like, we're playing UNA to open up the weekend. That Saturday game I'm pitching, I strike the first batter out. I'm like, "Oh, yes, I'm comfortable now. Like, this is just as easy as it was in practice." And I'm struggle for my next two starts, and I ended up getting put up for like a month. I didn't pitch for like a month.
Okay.
Probably not a month, maybe like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, there was a few weeks.
It was a while
Yeah.
between my first two starts where I didn't really pitch. If I did pitch, it was like a blowout scenario, and I was just like coming in to clean up, and it was like, but my coach, shout out to him, was always like, "You're going to be important for us to be as good as we need to be." And so going into that Auburn game, before the game, he was like, "Yeah, like you're going to pitch at some point today. Like, don't know when, just be ready." Excuse me. And so we were all a senior out there. He ends up getting hit around a good bit. It's like 6-0. I come in the game, so I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna try to throw up zeros, like just try to give our offense a chance to get back into the game. Auburn was like top 10 that year when we played them, and excuse me, and so funny enough, we're at Auburn, and at the time, a guy I grew up with the high school with, he played basketball at Alabama, Kyra Lewis. He was at Alabama. And so I guess they like the hecklers I have over there, Auburn, went on my Instagram, saw that, I went to high school with him, and they're like, "Oh, you went to Hazel Green, that's where Kyra Lewis, and we hate Kyra Lewis." Blah. They're heckling. And I love that. It kind of like gets me going a little bit. But at the time, I'm like, we're losing 6-0. I can't really do anything but just go out here and just throw up zeros and hope the offense gets to rolling. So I start throwing up a couple zeros, we're rolling, I'm striking some guys out, and we start coming back, and hitters start hitting. We end up taking the lead, and I want to say that might have been like my first college win. I want to say it was against Auburn that day. Ended up beating them, but that was like the jump. That Auburn game was like the jump start to the rest of that year. So I think from that Auburn start on, it was like ERA was like around a 2. Ended up getting back into the weekend rotation. We ended up making a run to Ole Miss. I ended up starting game 2 of that regional against Illinois. The first ever regional game Jacksonville won was that game.
Yeah.
And that was, to this day, I have pride in saying that was the best Jacksonville State team ever, because nobody's gotten back that far. And it was cool to be like an actual like contributing piece in that, like me being like, okay, like I actually played an integral part in us, quote unquote, being the best team Jacksonville State baseball's ever had. And so yeah, that Auburn start was pretty much the spark for me, at least personally, and getting comfortable. And after that, it was like, okay, it gave me the confidence. Not that I never, because you know me, the first time I met you in the facility, it was like, what 4 schools do you want to go to? And I was like, Vandy, LSU, Auburn, or Vandy, LSU, Florida, some like 4 crazy SEC schools. And you were just like, and I always appreciate you for that, is that you never, ever, like tried to like downplay it or like knock me off like not off my high horse, but like you were always like encouraging me to be confident no matter what. And so like throughout that whole, I remember I had an interview after a conference weekend start I had against Moorhead, punched out like 10 guys, had a career night. I'm talking to our media guy, and he's like, "Did you ever lose confidence?" And I was like, "No, 'cause I always knew what I was capable of doing. I just needed to figure out how to get back to where like I knew I could get to." And once I did that, it was up.
Well, that's a great point. And I think a lot of people that watch this show, they look at guys like you that they've seen those highlights, or they hear the story, like state championship high school player, leads the team here, leads the team there, gets a win against the top 10 Auburn team, very talented team there. But to say that you never lost your confidence, what would you attribute that to? Like, because you didn't come in the first time I met you with a lack of confidence. Is that from your family? Is that faith?
From my dad.
Where's that come from?
Faith as well, of course. But my dad was the biggest part of that. Best man I know, shout out to Pops. He, growing up, like even when I was like a kid, like even around like our kids' age, like 8, 9 years old, like was always confident, was always like, almost, you would call it maybe borderline brash, maybe a little arrogant. But my dad used to always, my teammates always be like, "You're so cocky, Isaiah." Like even as a kid, and I used to just be like, my dad would explain it to me like this. It was like the difference between confidence and like arrogance or cockiness is the fact that you can actually go do it. He was like, if you say, "Oh, I'm going to go out here against Auburn and throw 3 innings and punch out 8 guys," and somebody might be like, "Oh, that's cocky."
Yeah.
But I went and did it. So it's like, he was always like, don't let anybody ever try to like dim you if you like. Of course, like you're out here talking crazy, like I'm gonna dunk on LeBron James. Like, okay, like you sound crazy, right? But it's just like, but if you're talking stuff that you're actually can go do and you're going to go do and you do it,
Yeah.
then there's what can they really say? And so and he was always just like, you prepare well. As long as you're preparing well, as long as you're, putting in the work you need to put in, like you shouldn't lack any type of confidence because you're prepared and you're ready. So you shouldn't be you shouldn't feel like, oh, like, what was me? Because I could have easily did that after my first two starts. Like we were playing UNA and down at Jacksonville University in Florida, and I couldn't get out of second inning. It's just like stuff still looks good. I'm still throwing hard. Stuff still looks sharp. Just kind of a little bit sporadic, kind of all over the place. Like what's going on? Like literally 3 weeks ago before the season started, I was dotting. Like everything was fine, but you just have to trust it a little bit. Trust in preparation and trusting in just being ready. Honestly.
Do you think that you would have been able to maintain that confidence if you hadn't have been borderline cocky? Or like
Maybe not. That's a great question, actually.
How deep does
Because
that impact?
it's a fine line. I think I personally would rather somebody err on the side of bordering that line of brash and cocky than being like, oh, yeah, I'm good, but like, but if I go 0 for 3 with a couple punch outs today and then walk 4 guys while I'm starting, it's just like, tuck my tail.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be the other way around and you'd be like borderline, like overboard with it. And so,
yeah, I think it's expectations.
Yeah,
I think it's like, okay, I expect myself to do this. And we'll talk a little bit about your faith. You said the faith in God and that life. With him, everything's possible, right?
Absolutely.
And so being able to have that foundation and go out and do it. And again, like your dad was an older dad, right? And he's now 81 now.
Mm-hmm.
But just instilling that in you and me seeing that develop, it's like you worry about some players, and I'm not going to name you guys right now, like, but you do. But I never really worried about you.
Mm.
And I do want to tell you guys this story. We talked about this before. I remember going back one summer, we're playing at Lake Point, and I didn't have you in the starting lineup because you were pitching that night. And I remember you looked at me and you go, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm always on the field. I'm always playing. Right. But I will say, this young man right here, I was like, well, cheer for your teammate. And you sat on the bench for a minute, and then you realized, okay, I need to stand up. I need to sit. You really didn't know what to do.
Yeah, the feel for it, right?
But you never lost that confidence, and it never changed.
Right.
So where did faith, like, how did that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, obviously, I grew up going to church every Sunday with my pops. He's a deacon now, funny enough. But it's just like, I always felt like baseball was my gift that God gave me. Like, that was always like, for me, even at a younger age, it was like, it just came so naturally. And it was just like, this has to be a God thing. Some things just happen in life to where it's like, it's a God thing. Like, I could tell you plenty of stories, regardless of anything sports related, just about how that guy will just put you in the places you're supposed to be. I just always felt like baseball was that. And so having that assurance and having that, like, that firm belief that, okay, God gave me this gift to play baseball. Like, I don't want to say I'm too good at it, but like, it came too easy. It just felt natural. I felt like I was supposed to be doing it. And my dad was always just telling me, he's like, every time you do anything good on the baseball field, it ain't you, it ain't me. It's just the gift God gave you. You need to thank him for that every single time. Every home run I hit is always, because you got people who do all the emotes and the celebrations when they do something cool. But I just always kept it simple and just thank God, because for him, I mean, I literally felt like he instilled the ability that I had to really, obviously anything, but specifically baseball. It was always, this felt like, okay, like this is what God has called me to be doing. And like stay around it. And even it's funny because I wasn't supposed to, my Bash's baseball coach this year was like, you're always at the practices. Like, I know you played. I don't like to tell people that don't know me, like, how good I was at baseball, because I don't want to be like that overbearing parent that's like knows everything. You know what I mean? And so I was like, he knew I played a little bit of college ball. Like, in his brain, he probably thought I was just played a couple of years and like came on home, blah, blah, blah. That's what I wanted. That's how I wanted to keep it.
Right.
And so he's like, yeah, I know you played a little ball in college. Like, so if you want to help us out coaching this year, we'd love to have you out there. And I'm like, I'll help out at practice. That was my start point. Like, I don't know about the games, and I can get a little busy on the weekend. I might miss a game or two. Man, one weekend of the practice, I'm out there, and next thing you know, I'm in the dugout, and it's just like the game just. I think I really think baseball is a God thing for me because every time I get around it, I just have to kind of like, I can't help. Like my body just goes into like full force of like, okay, I'm going to try to help whoever, whether it be a 7-year-old or a 17-year-old that needs help doing whatever. It's just always like, I just always feel like, okay, every time I get around it, I try to like dip my little toe in the water. Next thing you know, I'm diving head first. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's God, obviously, huge role in everything, obviously, in my life, but baseball specifically, I feel like it was just always such a, like, not heavy on me in a bad way, but it just always felt like this is what I'm supposed to be doing because God gave me this gift to be doing this. That was always my way of looking at everything with it.
That's a great way to say it. And just taking that gift and now, paying it forward.
Right.
Because how old are you now?
25.
25. You got a good job.
Right.
And you're looking at doing some other stuff and sharing with people. But how did you know? Because we have never really talked about this, so this would be information for me. When you were done playing, like, how did that affect your confidence or your mindset? Like,
it's funny enough.
Help us out there.
My very best friend from college was down here not last weekend, the weekend before last, past weekend, a couple weekends ago. And we were talking about it because, so I went to my last year at Jacksonville because I had an extra year eligibility, but I just didn't take it. But I went to my last year and I told my family, everybody, I was like, when I want to put my best foot forth this year, and if I get drafted, I go play pro ball, we'll do that. And if I don't get the opportunity, I'm just going to shut it down and go home. Like, it is what it is. Like, I got to go be dad. Like, at that point, Bash was 4 going on 5. And it's like, okay, like, unless I want to keep chasing the dream at the next level, then even my coach, when I told him, he was like, oh, he's transparently, he was like, oh, we can find you somewhere else to play. If you don't want to play here anymore, like, that's fine. Like, we'll put you in the portal. We can find you somewhere good to play. And I'm like, coach, it's not even about that. It's just a matter of fact of like, my exit meeting, I told him, I said, if I don't get drafted, I'm just going to be done. And if you could have saw the look on his face, he was like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, no, he's literally like, no, like, you're lying. And I'm like, no, coach, like, I'm dead serious. And so that kind of, after the draft, everything kind of just didn't shake out. For a while, it was like, I wasn't unconfident, I would say, but it was just kind of like, dang, like, I had a 2 ERA. I punched out 10 per 9. I was first team all conference Southeastern. I was second team Southeast region for all of college baseball. Like, it was just like, okay, like, I got the accolades, I got the numbers, I got the stuff. Obviously, I got the projectability. Like, what did I miss? But then I also confided in the fact that, like, I did what I said I was going to do. I went into the year and said, I want to put my best foot forth. If it happens, it happens. It's supposed to happen. And if it don't, it don't. And so after that, after the draft, at first it was kind of like, it's funny. My friends get, like, when it gets brought up, gets more so been out of shape than I do. Like, my dad, like, he was like, I just don't understand what it takes anymore, and blah, 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 blah. Like, last weekend, my best friend was like, does this ever just eat you up thinking about it? And I was like, no, like, at first, like, maybe a little bit at first, it was kind of like, dang, like, I'm 6'5", 95 miles an hour, got good, decent stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. I saw it. Yeah.
It's just like, you would think that would get you a shot, right? And he was just like, they couldn't even give you a couple $1,000 in a plane ticket, blah, 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 just going in about it. And I'm just like, dude, I'm at where I'm supposed to be at. I'm being where my feet are. That's a thing that I got tattooed on my ribs. Like, I am who I am on one side, and be where your feet are. So if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And then once I do it, whatever the results come from that, they come from that, I can live with that. And then being where my feet are, it's like, okay, I can't go back and change anything. And it's like, I'm not about to go try to make it back to the big leagues now.
Right.
So, like, it just is what it is. I just got to be being in the present and just not really worrying about that type of stuff. But after the fact, it was a little bit of a, like, dang, like, I worked my whole life for this. Now it feels like it's for nothing. But after a while, it's like, okay, life goes on.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to feel sorry for you.
No.
You got a almost 5-year-old kid you got to take care of. So don't go soak in your sorrows. Just finish your degree and go to work. That's exactly what I did.
Well, having that, a lot of guys that I get to coach or now talk to, their identity was 100% baseball. And that was it. Yeah. And when it was done, it was like, well, what now?
Yeah.
Right? But you've had that faith instilled in you. It's a gift. Use the gift. And now you're here. And I can tell you, getting a couple $1,000s in a plane ticket ain't always the best option. It's not, because
Yeah.
then you're gonna get used up again.
Right.
But if somebody's out there right now that's coming out of sports, or you've been through that process,
Right.
and like you said, even your friends, former teammates, they're probably still pissed off because they looked up to you thinking if anybody's gonna make it, it's gonna be him.
Right.
And you didn't, and you're okay with that. That probably pisses them off a little bit inside to think,
Yeah.
well, why couldn't I be that
Yeah.
cool about it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's funny because like my best friend, he played center field at Jacksonville, and he was a great player, good prospect, great runner, could really go get it, could hit for power. He's kind of like caught the injury bug, and so our stories are kind of like similar when it comes to like playing ball. Of like we definitely both thought we should have had the opportunity to go play, but then like for him it was like injuries kind of derailed it, so he was kind of like confided, it's like okay, like I just got hurt too much. It just was what it was. Like this happens, and then for me it was like. It's kind of like I think that's what like bugs him was like his reason is like I tore both my labrums in 1 year, so
Ouch.
like okay, I'm gonna go do real estate and ball out doing that, which he's doing a great job doing, and so he's like okay, well it is what it is. I'm just gonna go do what I plan on doing anyway. It's fine. But I think the thing for him that frustrates the most for me is like, bro, you did everything you're supposed to do. But the advice I would give people that are in that situation is like it's tough though, because no matter how confident or secure or comfortable you are with your decision, it's just like kind of like it's a transition because it's like, man, I've been doing baseball my whole life. That was really my only job. So I was just like, what am I? It's kind of like, what am I going to do now? A little bit, because I mean that's everybody's. Once they get done with something, it's like, okay, what's next? And it can be tough. I mean, it wasn't always as smooth as I might be trying to make it sound, because I mean, there was some moments where it was just like, man, I'm seeing. Like I'm watching the draft that year and I'm seeing dudes from respectfully to that I'm looking at their ERAs and I'm like, this dude's got an 8. Like he plays at this school and has a 6 ERA. I had a 2.5 and won 8 games and punched out 10 guys for 9. Like, so you start seeing that, you start doing that. But for me, I caught myself at that moment and was like, okay, like I can't try to play the comparison game because you don't know what they're looking for and it is what it is. And so the next step was just like, okay, finish the degree, try to find a decent job and go on about life. But there's going to be like that hard little like fringe little grace period after that's just like, man, it's really over. It finally sets in. But once you like realize that that's like what you're feeling, it's like, man, it's really over, is that's when you can really take off into your next step. It's like, okay, you come to the realization, okay, it's done. I'm through. My career's done. Baseball is a thing of the past now. And you have to just look straight forward. That's the best advice I can give with it.
That's solid advice, because at your age, I didn't have that advice. I was still, forgive me for being this way, but it was F this effing game.
Yeah.
I was upset about
Of course,
it. It's
yeah.
like I've given my whole life.
Yep. And I definitely had moments like
Yeah.
that for sure. It was, like I said, it wasn't always just like, oh, it'll be fine. There was moments where it was just like, what more could I have done? Like, should I have gotten a transfer portal? Should I have took my 5th year? Should I have tried it? It's just like, but I know my reasoning behind everything, and it just felt like what I was doing was right, and I trusted in that. And so it was just that was my thing.
What and I can look back now at 46 and go, okay, well, God needed me to pay attention to this and follow and do better. So, where do you see yourself going forward from here? Like you've got the good job, you're looking at doing some more stuff, social media, or gaining some stuff there. But
Yeah.
what do you feel like is to be where your feet are?
Yeah, to be where my feet are right now is, I mean, other than being this podcast, this is cool. But I mean, like we talked about before, like I want to get into more so like talking about sports now, because like I'm so well versed in really both like the 3 main sports: baseball, football, basketball. Like I watch. That's pretty much all I watch. And so I know I'm super well versed. I'm knowledgeable about it. So like I want to get on a mic and talk about it. And and everybody that I talk to about it is like, dude, like you gotta, like my sister's always like, you got a voice that people want to listen to. Like your opinion matters to some people. So like you need to like get it out there and just talk. So like just make videos, just post them. Like who cares what they look like? It doesn't matter. Just make it and post it. And then like a high school friend of mine, we were talking the other day. He's actually a college football coach. had sent me something on Instagram the other day, and he was like, "Hey, champ, like you are you were built to like be like a sports like sports media type of atmosphere. Like just he's like, just give me one video a week to start. Just make a video and post it."
Yeah.
He's like, you got it. Like people are going to listen to you.
Mhm.
People are going to take what you have to say into account and like actually like listen and tap in. My best friend from Atlanta who does real estate from college, he just says the same thing to me all the time. He's like, dude, just make the video, just make the content, just make it.
Well-
So that's really the next step for me in my now adult life is like just taking that step off of the ledge and being like, just do it and make it. Just make the video, just make the content.
Well, you're a good looking guy. People look up to you and you do have influence.
Right.
And they know you better than I know you, right? And they know what type of influence you're going to put out there.
Right.
And they know that there may be people out there that are going through what you went through.
Right.
And sure, you can talk about the sports, but a lot of people can just talk about sports.
Right.
Right. I mean,
But I think for me, I think the thing that like my people that are around me that keep telling me and agging me to push is like the fact that you can, I do a good job of like correlating it back to life.
mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, well, yeah, like you were this really good baseball player and you did all these things, but like at the end of the day, like I was trying to get some, I was looking at golf clubs the other day and with a couple of my high school buddies, so I'm trying to get into golf. My golf swing is horrible. I can't, but we were trying to find like clubs and they were like, one of my buddies was like, you need like a +1, whatever that means. Like, you need, like, cause you're so tall and big or whatever. It's like, you need a +1. And I'm like, man, being 6'5" as an average, like as a normal human being sucks. Like just joking. I'm like being 6'5" playing ball was cool.
Yeah.
But I can't even go find a old used pair of golf clubs because I'm too big to find, you know what I mean? So it's just like finding a way to correlate it back to life and making it kind of funny, interesting, cool is something I think I'm good at too.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister was like, your voice is a gift just like baseball was. And so that might be I think that's your next step into like another calling of yours is like just getting on the mic and talking.
Well, and I know your parents a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's being in that family, being in that environment.
Yep.
When I see y'all's family pictures on social media, it's a little different than other family pictures because I can see the love. I can see the connection. And so I think people are drawn to that too.
Right.
You know, you're a product of your environment and your mom school teacher and has poured into thousands and thousands of people, right?
Yeah.
And like your dad and I used to have conversations and he could put things in perspective. One thing you don't know, there were players that came and played for us because of your dad.
That is not surprised whatsoever.
Ben trust you with his son? Like it was like, and I was like, Ben's one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, and Courtney will probably smile over on the other side of the camera. There were times back then that if I was having a bad day, guess who I called? Ben.
Of course.
I did.
Yeah.
Because he would say, okay, tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
And I would tell him and he'd go, huh. Like,
it's not
really?
Like
That's it?
He's been through so much life. And I think that's why I look at life the way I look at it now is because it's like my dad's 81 years old. He's literally lived through 8 decades of different stuff in life and just general. And so it's funny because I always tell my sister, like, whenever I do my podcast, like, he's gonna be my first guest just because I just want to give him the mic and just be like, here.
Yeah.
Like, you just sit up and talk because he's got so many different stories about so many different things in different realms of life that, like, and it's so interesting to listen to. Like, it's like polarizing. It's crazy. But just, I think him being the way he is and him have gone through everything that he's been through in life, like, he can look at things that seem like the heaviest thing in the world in the moment and just be like, oh, you'll be fine. You just need to do this, or just look at it this way, that way, whatever, and you'll be fine. And after the conversation, you start thinking like, you just automatically feel better about yourself. And you're just like, it's hard to stay down. It's like, and it's easier to stack the good days that way too. It's like, okay, if I hear his voice in my head all the time. I used to say when I was in college, like, we'd be playing in front of like a bunch of people, like 1,500, 2,000 people at Jacksonville. That'd be a good bit. And it'd be loud, and I'd be pitching. And all I could hear is his voice in my brain. Mechanics. Throw strike one. Keep your pitch count down. It could be we're playing Bama in a midweek and there's 2,000 people out here and it's loud. And all I can hear is a third strike one. Mechanics. Keep the walks down. Keep your pitch count down. We need you to get into the 7th inning tonight. That's all I can hear in my brain. And so it's like, it's also comfort in that too, of knowing, okay, my dad's the greatest man I've ever met and probably won't meet a man better than him.
You won't.
So I can just replay all the stuff that he's always told me in my brain to like bring me back down if I'm feeling too high or too low or whatever. It can kind of just keep me even keel because I feel like I got the encyclopedia between my ears because I can just hear him. Every little situation I'm in, all you gotta do is blah, 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 blah. Whether it be sports, life, doesn't matter. It's just, I can just always hear his voice in my brain. And that always keeps me even keel and steady to where it's like, okay, I'm not going to, like I said, get too high or get too low.
No, that's great. That's great because, and not everybody has that dad, right? And like you said, you're not going to meet another guy as good. And that's why I want to encourage you to do more because guess what? Those 8 decades have been poured into you in 2.5 decades and now pay it forward again. So
absolutely.
As we could talk for hours and hours, but to keep this show somewhat in time, is there anything that I maybe didn't know to ask? Is there something that you want to share with the audience or, you know, something that you could tell a story that
stories? I don't know about stories. I got a few quotes I like to live by. Shout out to my best friend. He, a couple quotes. There's always a quote that when I feel like I'm riffing and running or I got too much going on, is just keep it simple, stupid. Just keep it simple, stupid. Another one of his great quotes is he always is like, or if I'm like, I got this going on, I can't do this, I can't do that. And if I grew up in a house that were can't, my dad's like, you can't ever say can't. Like, it's not saying that. My best friends always be like, he always used to say this quote, he always says this quote, it's like, he who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right. So just like, what side of the fence are you going to be on? Are you going to be the one who says he can and you're going to do it? Or you're going to be say you can't and you don't?
Yeah.
So, I mean, just other than that, I don't know. My life's pretty simple now. I just go to work, come home, and lay across the couch, watch some ball, run behind bass. I mean, they go to Cabo last month. It was super cool for my friend's wedding. It was super dope. But I mean, hey, just keep going.
You're enjoying life, right?
Yeah, I'm enjoying the heck out of life.
Like that's what I think a lot of people miss is can you choose happiness?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you just said whether you're right or wrong, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, what you choose to say, but how genuinely happy are you?
Very. I mean, I got a great job. I got a healthy son who ripping and running all the time, doing a bunch of craziness, which is, I mean, that's how you want them.
Yeah.
Parents both in good health. Family's great. I mean, there's not really anything for me too much to complain about. I like to say like right now, like I'm super peaceful. And so like anything that comes into my life that's not going to generate even more peace or at least stimulate the peace, then it's like, I'm cool. I have no problem being like, I'm good. You know what I mean? And so right now, life's just been smooth and peaceful. And obviously, like I know it's not always going to be this way. There's always going to be bumps in the road. And even in your peaceful era of life, there's still going to be little divots you hit and stuff like that. But I mean, I literally can't complain. Life's been super smooth. Obviously, there's more stuff I want to get into, of course, but not into a way where it's like going to run me into the ground or like ruin my vibe or anything. It's only going to elevate it and make it better for me, the stuff I want to get into. So maybe even feel even more happy because that's what I like doing. So, yeah.
No, that's great. So awesome job, man. Awesome. Yeah. And guys, I think watching this show, you can understand where this young man is. State champion, has pitched his butt off. For you baseball people, you'll understand 10 punch outs per 9. If you don't, that's okay. But just, protecting his peace and making sure that he's in line with what he wants to do is how he's finding happiness. So if you guys got something from the show, drop a comment, go follow him on Instagram. And thank you guys for watching Podcast on Wheels.